How you guys doing? Hey, Paul and Donald and Hans and Gary and Javi and Mr. Gumby. Good to see you guys. Um, Hi, Javier. Oh boy, Mixafil. Is that it? Oh, I'm glad you made it. I probably said your name wrong. Milks. I'm just gonna call you Phil. All right. What I wanted to talk about today, a couple things. Some of you who are here this morning know about this. Hi, Marcos. Buenas tardes. Que tiene? Um, I mess up my Spanish so badly. what, what, every now and then my wife would get a phone call and by someone who spoke Spanish, and I'd answer the phone and I'd say hello, and then they were saying something in Spanish, and I'd say, que quiere? I meant, what would you like, or what do you want? And anyway, if my wife wouldn't let me answer the phone too much after that. Hey, Hans, how you doing? Hey, Paul, Abdul, good to see you. So anyway, that's me and my Spanish. I love foreign languages, all of them, and I'm terrible at all of them. One I'm best at is Spanish. So, and my wife speaks it perfectly, and I'm terrible at it. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Okay, so let's get started. Some of you know this from this morning, but let me fill you in on what's going on. Here's what happened. As promised, I had approached Marco Lang about setting up a subscription program, and I sent him this. I said, what we want is something pretty simple. A key wound one with a great big balance and so on and so forth. And, could you do it? I said, well, but before I sent him that picture and told him the details of it, he said, well, listen, I'm really busy. There's no way I can do it, but I can check with Richard Hobring and Stefan Kadoke, and maybe they could, the three of us could put something together for you. And so when they saw this, they said, he said, you can't get that done for what you want. Why? Said, you're asking us to create a whole new movement. And the funny thing about it, when you stop and think about it, that's exactly what we were doing. You have these companies like Breitling and IWC, and they put all of these ETA movements in and call them, by some other name, so we don't know what they are. But I always well, if they make their own movement. Well, it's not easy. And apparently that was, pretty much it. Now, the one that we were working on and we will go back to working on in the fall or the late summer is the one with Agenor. Now, the one with Agenor, we're talking about having a movement, a base movement that they have, and then adding a module to it for the retrograde minutes and the jumping hour. Okay, so really they have something that already exists. they didn't have anything like that, and they said, I know a programming. Somebody would say, "Oh, this is a simple programming problem. Here's all you got to do." You look at it. That's not simple, and I think that was what we got back. So I thought, okay, so we need a plan B. Because I still think it's sort of a cool thing for taking a look at doing something with a key wound watch, mainly because you have more room. You don't have the key works in there, so you don't have to mess with that. We can have a bigger balance wheel to give it more stability and just do something cool like that. Well, there are some other options that we have. We have one of the guys who's, I don't know if he's here this afternoon, but Egon is a guy who was talking. He said, I could see if I could make one of those for you guys. Maybe he can. And anyway, so that might be something. But the other thing that I think would be important that I'm going to try, you guys might want to try it too. You don't have to. But this is what I found. I found here's a key wound pocket watch. And when I looked at the movement, look at that movement in the thing. Here are the finger bridges, and here's the winding position for the barrel, and then here's the setting one, and then here you have this. It's not huge, but it's pretty good size balance. So I thought, this would be something. And I hadn't seen this. I just got this one. But when you compare these two, there was more there than I had realized. And so I thought, I'll get this one and see if I can take it out and, play around with it and maybe make one ourselves. And the idea would be, I've got some big cases like this. Is the one that looks like there's a worm in there. It's just this sealant that goes around it. But what you could do with these things is put it in here and take it. Take it, and then when you want to wind it, just take the back off. Come on back. Just take the back off the thing like this. Boy, it doesn't want to come off. So I have to try to get it unwound here. There we go. And everything comes out. But what you do is take the back off, wind it up, put the back on, and I've got my hands full now. I have all of this stuff that fell out when I opened it up. And why don't let's see if I can pop this back on real quick. But anyway, if you get it set up right, I think it'd be something that, what the heck, why not? Something we could give it a try. And now the other thing was in finding this, I went initially to eBay, and there were lots of them. You can find a lot of key wound watches there, but they were pretty expensive. So I went to this place called Etsy. I don't know if any of you have ever been there before. Every now and then I find this great watch at Etsy. I got my wife a gold Dunhill that had a Jacquet 736 movement in it. That was, and so I happened to find some there. They were great. Okay, let's see. Oh, a bunch of folks showed up. Hi, Beal. How you doing? Dominic, Tanzil, how are you? Hey, Mark. Hi, Clyde. You could. Bruce had to stand in for you today, Clyde, and let me know when the hammer was coming down. Hey, John and Marita. Glad you could make it. And let's see what's going on. Let's see. So you can take it to a watchsmith every time you want to wind it. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Do I like scotch? Yeah, I used to be a big scotch and soda fan, but I don't know what's wrong with me. I just haven't been much of a drinker. I was a Padres fan and a Charger fan, and I'm still not much of a drinker. That would make anybody be one. You think the beret may be on too tight? Well, I don't know. You'd know more about berets than I would. Hatzi, Hatzi. Is that a good place to look? Hey, Roger, how you doing? Have purchased on Etsy. Hey, Forbin. For that price, you're asking us to create a whole new movement? Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it. That was exactly it for, but oh, for what? You guys want a subscription and you don't want it over 9,500 euro. Anyway, so but anyway, so I thought, well, this might be an interesting project to do because we've got that other one we can go back to, and I think that with more experience. But man, I tell you, having that would be the one with the retrograde minutes and the jumping hour. That would be an original one too. Hot Hateza. Okay. Hey Kevin, how you doing? Colin, Urban Effect, how are you? How do you set the time with a key wound movement? I've never had one of those things. Neither have I. So we got a lot to learn. Okay. They have, see this right here, these two holes. One of them is for winding the barrel and the other one is for setting the time. So, I mean, it's not that hard. And I guess you use the same key for both of them. You just put it in the first hole and wind it up, or put it in and set the time and then wind it up. Is it harder to make a hunter's case back on that case? The one I got a pretty good buy on it, I think. This one, this particular one, there had been some kind of cover on it that had broken off. The guy who owns it or selling it put a plastic case over it, and I cleaned it up a little. But the big thing that I want to do, I think I'd be able to, is to remove a couple screws here. I'll find out which ones that you take out, pull the movement out, put it into one of this big watch case, and give it a try. I mean, it's first of all, it's not that expensive. It was like $145, and considering the amount of fun we'd have with that, it's a good buy. At least it is to me. It's like someone, my wife and I were out for a walk today, and someone was coming over to our house with something for my wife. And my wife said, well, I went over there yesterday. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. All the days seem alike. So, well, this is a good time to spend it with, not a whole lot to do except play with watches, but not spend a lot of money doing it. Beal, pocket watch is cool. Would you love to own one, but worried I would lose it in the first week? Well, no, Beal, the thing is that it's to take the movement out of the pocket watch and put it into a wristwatch case like this. This is just a simple wristwatch case that I will probably break if I'm not careful with it. So it's not something to lose. Now people say, well, I'm going to lose the key. Well, if you lose the key, according to what's his name, Daniels, you don't deserve it. It's really funny. All of his George Daniels book, Watchmaking, I didn't realize that, but I think all of the watches he has in there, he preferred using a key instead of now I've done it. I just dropped the crown on the floor. I'll have to dig it up in a bit later on. The whole point, though, of having a key wound watch, you can lose anything. You can lose a crown, for example, and just be a fun thing to do. It's like this morning I was wearing this watch. It's H. Moser. And this is a beautiful watch, and I love it and love to wear it, and it's really accurate, and I only have to wind it up once a week. But when I go for a walk, I like to have a medal or some other kind of bracelet other than a gator one. And so, you switch around. But how much can we really do with our watches once we have them, other than just wear them and sort of look at them all the time? And it's sort of fun to have a little project going. This one, by the way, too, is one that is coming right along, and it's all together now except putting it in the case. And it turned out to be something new and something different and something a little more problematic, because the case I got came with you're supposed to put the movement on top of the bezel. And so I've been working on that, and I'm in no hurry. I mean, it's like I work on it a little and, fiddle around with it and put it and work with it. Same idea with this. You take it, you work with it some, and the big thing is you learn a lot about watches. And when you go and you buy a watch now, the more you learn about it, there are two things. One, you can get better watches, and second, you can get better deals. Let's see. Are you saving for a Marco Lang watch? Is he your favorite watchmaker? He's one of them, yeah. But I already have a Marco one. Well, I don't have one of the $70,000 ones. I don't save for $70,000 watches. That's sort of like that's sort of out of my range. The one I have is one that was more affordable from when he was with Lang and Hein. And I love that watch. They're just a wonderful watch to have. But you can't. In looking at the watches I was looking at, they're I can't afford them. And so the thing of it is what I try to do is say, okay, what about that? What is it about that watch that's really cool? And then see if there's another way to get it or find it in another watch. So that's more of the purpose of it than it is to see how many watches I can, accumulate. I'm already getting to the point now where I'm going to have to sort of cut back on some of them. George Daniels kept his key inside his fiddle made of gold. Yeah. Hey, Alex, how you doing, man? George Daniels says a gentleman without a key is like Churchill without a cigar. It's not bloody cricket. That's a great way to put it. Oh yeah, that's another. Hans had it. I would have one, but they sold them out, and so there wasn't any one for me. I don't think so, Kevin. I mean, I can't imagine a bigger pest than me around a watchmaker. I'd be getting into everything, spilling stuff. Well, what's this? And break it. No, I would have be sort of like, I don't know. It just would, because I would be interested in everything and keep knocking stuff over. Oh boy. And just having fun. If we can't have fun with our hobby, well, what's the point? Okay, so all right, so that's where we're at right now. Have any of you been working on the project with the ETA 2892 AT? Because this one is notice that the stem and crown are out, but this one is going to have both a date and an automatic movement to it, which is frankly, for me, it's the first time I've done that. This is funny. This is how good this movement is. Every time I pick it up, the rotor goes around a little, and there goes the old second hand starts turning, even though it doesn't have a stem or a crown there to wind it. Of course, I'm not a automatic or date hand fan. I mean, they're fine, and this one also has both automatic and date hand. Okay, am I getting some buffering? Is that what's going on, guys? It says something's going slow there. Is that right, Donald? Is it buffering now? Uh-oh. Oh, taking your time. I see. When you said it was going slow, I thought, well, oh, the video's starting to buffer. Where did you buy your 2892 and how much? I see them for approximately 300 bucks. Well, what I did is that I got a Soprod A10, and I'll tell you why. Soprod A10 has virtually all of the dimensions of the 2892, except that it's a different watch. It was based on the Seiko 4L, and the Seiko 4L, that sort of line of watches, when it first came out, was a big flop. And the reason it was a big flop is because Seiko owners weren't used to paying that much because it was an upscale, high horology idea movement. Well, it turns out it's an excellent movement. It's great. And a number of companies were using a Soprod A10 instead of a 2892 because of the quality. I know that the Icelandic watch company, JS, they were using it, and some other ones were as well. I think Kristen Vanderklaw was using it for a while and then quit using it for whatever reason, stuck a ETA in mine, but that's okay because it works very well on with the astrological stuff, astronomical stuff on top of it. Okay, thanks, Raj. It helped. Nothing. Okay, everything's working good. Oh, okay. Abdul, you got a bunch of them on eBay. Let me tell you something. Yeah, eBay has got a lot of them, but the thing I seem to get from eBay seemed to be a lot more expensive than Etsy. And I've used both of them, and I've got good deals on both of them. So that was it. By the way, too, in asking me about the price and of the Forb, and going back to your question, they're around 300 bucks, and I think mine was around, it was two something. I think I got it for, and this is the guy in Switzerland, and I also got the case from him too, and then I got that's what the case that came with the bezel lets you put the movement into. Very different kind of thing that I'm used to dealing with all of the 64, 98s and 97s that I've dealt with. But that's again, like, it's the fun part. If you're doing the same thing all the time, it's not that interesting. Do you need to find a certain spacer to fit the movement into the case? Yeah, Forbin, this is why I got the movement and the case from the same guy. Both turned out to be excellent. He's got a shop on eBay, and service, everything about the guy's stuff was great. I had a question about that, the way it was set up, with the way the bezel was. The bezel's separate, and then you put the movement into the bezel, but there were like 50 ways I was looking at it, and he said, just put it on top. And that was all I had to do. And a couple other things about it that made it more interesting, but I don't think there's anything that you couldn't handle, Forbin. Okay, Donald, you got the Soprod A10 also. Good. Just got a great vintage slant razor on Etsy yesterday. Okay, Clyde, what's a slant razor? Is that a type of watch or something? You can find cheap ETA 2824 clones on eBay for like 30 bucks. Yeah, that's true. You can. But a 2824 is different. And here's how a 2824 is different. It's fatter. I don't know why, but it is. This old, what is it? Weil. Raymond Weil. I had a Raymond Weil for years, and I finally took it apart, and it had a 2824 in it, and they're fatter than the 2892, and I think that is why a lot of the watch companies, for their expensive watches, put in the 2892A2. Or like Mexophil said, you can also get a Chinese clone of it. They have a lot of them, but I would try to get the 2892 over even the clone of it over the 2824. But, you know, whatever you guys want. Safety razor that slants the blade. Huh. Okay, it's a Seagull ST2130. Yeah, I've used the Seagull 36 and the 3620, which is the 28, 64, 97, and 98. Hey, Colin, 2824 movements are great, Bill. Tag Heuer. I'm not saying anything wrong with them, okay? I'm just saying they're fatter than the 2892. They're, you know, there's nothing wrong with fat watches. Yeah, and it's also in the Breitling, Tag Heuer and Breitling. That would is not a recommendation in some respect. Okay, so let's talk about some sources that we might have. There are guys that know a whole lot about vintage watches, and they know vintage and they know pocket watches. Okay, so if you guys anyone's got a good one on that one, let me know. The ST2132 is Venus based. Yeah, they had some kind of Seagull had some kind of a really interesting deal with Venus. It was like, I think they somehow got the rights to do everything with some Venus movements. Yeah, they did. They did some really interesting stuff with them. Venus 175. Yeah, that's it, Clyde. It was some Chinese company. I thought it was Seagull, maybe not. But that was another thing that, you know, there's all kinds of interesting little quirks around with different things on these. And that's why, by the way, that's why I like the Soprod 810 so much. Most people just said, oh, it's a clone of the 2892. And it's only in the dimension so that it could fit into the ones that they were using. Live Auctioneers and Invaluable auction for pocket watches. You know, Dominic, I tell you, if you know some a good one for that, I'd be really interested. I'll tell you why. I got a feeling that a lot of these guys who are selling this stuff on Etsy and eBay, they go to these auctions, they get a box of them. All right, here's a box. They sell them by the pound. You get, you know, they're $10 a pound or something, and so they get all of these watches and they they sell them for 10 times what they paid for them. So we might as well do the same, at least to get them. Venus sewed Seagull the rights in 1960 and provided the tools. There you go. I think the chronographs of their watches are copies of older Venus ones. Could be. Pocket watch movements are great buys. The problem is the size huge. Look for Dr. Krott auction Mannheim catalogs. Thank you very much, Haynes. Hey, Martin Bacon, how you doing? RGM makes watches using vintage Hamilton pocket. Yeah, that's another thing. You're right. That's a good point, Martin. Roland Murphy makes them with that. A lot of the stuff he has. He's a real watchmaker. Okay, so he knows what he's doing, and so that would be that's another way you can go, is trying to find some some of the older ones. I ought to be able to find them in this area. All of the old American watch factories are in this area where I live, in Connecticut, and there's we have the American Watch Museum not too far from where I live, and they have all of these. I don't know if they have any kind of thing like, if I went there and say, hey guys, I want to get some of these American watch movements, which I would really like to have to play with. Maybe I ought to do that. That would be another. Give them a call, because they have some guy that goes over to the museum, and they have these workshops and so forth. Something. There are lots of opportunity for things like that. Hey, Koji, what's up? You might also look out locally with estate sales regarding pocket watches. Okay, Koji, that's not a bad idea. I don't, the thing is that I'm, right now, um, I don't know even how they have estate sales. I mean, like a yard sale or something like that. I'm not sure, but I have no doubt that there's some like real gold mines of old watches and stuff like that. Even at pawn shop, I went into a pawn shop and the junk they had in there were like these sort of from the, 80s and 90s and really cheap watches. Nothing there for me. Hey, Thomas, you eating dinner? Okay, great. We don't want any starving watchmakers. See, FYI, ETA movement has gone up by $100, yeah, over the past years, but watches using them have not. Compare the Seiko's common 4R movements, which sell for ridiculous. Boy, if you can find a 4R movement for $35, let me know where they are because I'll pack up on some. The other kind of thing that you can find, and another thing I've been interested in, sort of, are the fuzzy and chain in pocket watches. If you can find fuzzy and chain pocket watches quite easily. You can't. I mean, they're very hard to find in wristwatches, and one of the reasons they're very fat. I believe Longo and Sundin they had made one. I don't know if they still make it or not for that, but that's another way to. That is another way to find some really interesting constant force elements that either aren't available or if they're from Longa, they're way too expensive. And so the whole purpose isn't so much just to screw around with them, but it's like to get your hands on some things that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Clyde is a Dexter, a watch collector. Oh my God. That's why I'm trying to break into Crypos, getting tired of sharpening my shovels. Oh, let's see. Bitcoin, Clive, not financial advice. Okay. Andrew, hi, how you doing? I was distracted and missed everything. This is why our collectors are proud of the fact that we all have a short attention span. That was going on. My wife will call me for dinner. Okay, I'm coming, and start something. Then I'll see something. Let me check that out. She'll come back with half an hour later with a rolling pin. Off I go. Oh my God. All right. Okay, so we have some good sources that we can find these things on. And I know a source, and I tried to get a hold of a guy. Oh, it's 4 minutes over. Holy smoke. Time flies. Thanks, Clyde, for letting me know. You can't fire anyone. Hey, listen, guys. Let me know if you run into anything about this. Let's just say, hey, look what I found. This might be interesting to us. So, anyway, in the meantime, everybody take care, stay safe, use your mask, get your shot, do everything that you're supposed to. Till next time, we'll see you then.